Could we pray? Dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, forgive us our sins, for they're many, and forgive those who've trespassed against us. God, we come to you today humbly, looking for answers, looking for knowledge, because you have it all. You know what's going to happen 100 years from now, and we don't know what's happening tomorrow. So, Lord, we just look for you to bless everyone in this auditorium today and their families. Be with everybody on this city council and the mayor and all the city staff to give us wisdom beyond our ability to solve the problems of this city, to bring us together as one body, as Montgomeryans. So Lord, just thank you for all the things you've given us, and we ask in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Grimes. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's hard to bend down.
Thank you. Need a motion for the approval of the August 6th work session minutes.
Move to approve.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Approval for the August 6th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right. The mayor's message, Mr. Hill.
Mayor's budget message has been prepared for video, and I believe they're going to start that for us right now.
Mr. President and members of the City Council, it is my pleasure to come before you as the Mayor of the City of Montgomery to present the fiscal year 2025 budget message. I'm presenting to you today a balanced budget for your consideration and adoption. Montgomery is a vibrant city that continues to grow through economic development. In recent days, it has been noted new businesses such as Meta, Amazon, Mana Beverage, and expansions at the Inland Port and Hyundai are expected to boost the city's population dramatically. These companies will provide jobs for people currently living in the city and for those who will move there for good-paying jobs. As the city grows, so too does the need for the city to grow the services it provides. This means more staffing will need to be hired and equipment purchased to meet citizens' needs. Consequently, due to the increase in expenses, the budget must grow to provide those services. The City of Montgomery had growth from three primary revenue sources in fiscal year 2023, which has continued in the current year, namely sales and use tax, business licenses, and lodging tax. This revenue growth allowed the city to pay or begin paying for mandated upgrades to Biscuit Stadium, improvements at the zoo, and roof repairs or replacements for various community centers. The growth also allowed for lighting, audio, and scoreboard upgrades at Crampton Bowl, as well as unbudgeted property demolitions. Additionally, the city was able to replace rolling stock such as open-body trucks, bucket trucks, sport utility vehicles, an excavator, and lawnmowers that have reached their end of useful life. The current budget year began on October 1, 2023. Revenue has continued to grow for sales and use taxes, ad valorem taxes, business licenses, and lodging taxes. The current year's revenue projection includes growth based on actual revenue collected through July 31st and forecasted through September 30th, 2024. As the current fiscal year ends on September 30th, the city's sales and use tax revenue is projected to remain stable at 5% over the previous year. Because of projected revenue growth and underspend of budgets by some departments, the city will be able to pay for a new landfill cell, AEDs, computers, copiers, economic development incentives, as well as increasing the demolition budget and continuing to purchase additional rolling stock to replace old equipment that's in disrepair and unreliable. Finally, projected savings from the general fund will support the growth of the city's fund balance or reserves. As the city grows, so must the general fund operating and debt service budget to provide services to all citizens. Consequently, it is vital that this administration ensures that the reserves keep the same pace and continue to be at least 20% of the general fund budget. This administration continues to take a proactive approach when constructing the general fund operating and debt service budget. That approach is no different for fiscal year 2025, whereby zero-based budgeting is used to ensure that employee positions are funded to provide for the needs of those we serve, the citizens of our great city. Being proactive is crucial when hiring and retaining qualified employees. City department heads continue to fill vacancies due to this administration's ensuring employee salaries are competitive. Being competitive with salaries will allow the city to continue its efforts of hiring and retaining qualified employees. The fiscal year 2025 budget has a pay increase included in it for every city employee. First, I'll begin by stating all Montgomery Police Department sworn officers will receive a 15% increase in pay. Initially, the significant increase was set to be used as a recruitment and retention tool for newly sworn officers through the rank of lieutenant. However, the City Council has enacted legislation that will provide the same percentage for retention of sworn officers whose rank is captain and above. Secondly, I have included in this budget a 5% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for all other city employees. These employees deserve their COLA. Many of them have willingly taken on additional duties due to vacancies within their departments. Looking back at the pay history of city employees, a cost of living adjustment has not been provided to city employees since prior to 2012, over 12 years ago. Employees have only received a couple of pay adjustments to ensure that the pay for their positions are competitive in the job market in this region. As I have stated before, I am truly thankful for the tenacity of our employees citywide in all departments to ensure that services are provided to the citizens of Montgomery uninterrupted. We still have employees who are working above a normal work schedule to ensure this happens. Due to the shortfall in some departments to fill vacancies, our administration has been proactive in taking various measures to provide uninterrupted services to its citizens. I now present to you what has been included in the fiscal year 2025 proposed operating and debt service budget. As I mentioned previously, this proposed budget has a pay increase included in it for all city employees. Because the projection of certain revenue sources continues to show stable growth, merit increases have also been included in this budget. Just as pay increases for the entire city workforce will allow the city to remain competitive for hiring and retaining employees, so will the merit raise for those employees who are eligible. If merit raises are not included in the budget, employee salaries will begin to lag behind salaries of comparable positions in government and private sectors. Included in this budget are increased allotments for various agencies that provide needed and valuable services to the citizenry of Montgomery. Increases are also included that will bring more economic development and growth to our city. Now, let me explain to you how the city can afford the increases in this proposed budget. In addition to stable growth of certain revenue streams, an increase in business license fees has been included in the revenue projections for fiscal year 2025, which will need council's approval by passage of an ordinance. As some of you know, the City Council increased business license fees in the fiscal year 2009 budget. That was the first time in 40 years the fees had increased. Consequently, it has been nearly 14 years since the last increase to business licenses. As the city grows, the cost of providing manpower and equipment to provide services to the citizenry also grows, which increases the city's budget. Therefore, it is necessary to increase these fees. Although revenue growth is not as robust in the current fiscal year as it was in the two previous years, we are still seeing revenue growth in those revenue streams that make up the largest percentage of the city's operating budget, and it's projected that the growth will continue to be stable during the upcoming budget year. However, that stable revenue growth is not enough to sustain a growing budget. The city is still benefiting from lowering total debt and not having any short-term debt that needs servicing. The long-term debt in this budget is approximately $26 million, which is significantly less when compared to $35 million or more in previous years. Consequently, the increased business license fees and stable revenue growth in the primary revenue streams, plus debt savings, will support the increases in this proposed budget. The Grants Department, created by our administration, has been able to procure grant funding in the current year of more than $50 million. Those grants will support many infrastructure projects and many other programs that we would not have been able to do without them. The Grant Department's operating budget has minimal funding in the general fund budget due to certain grant awards covering the payroll and operating expenditures. Basically, it pays for itself. The availability of grant funding lowers additional increases to the general fund budget, not only for the Grants Department, but also for the Office of Violence Prevention. Additionally, there's an interfund transfer amount of $5.15 million that is less than 1.6% of the total budget. These funds are from special revenue funds that can be generated to the general fund to offset the cost of debt service payments. Sales and use tax revenues constitute approximately 49% of the proposed budget. The overall increase in this revenue stream year over year is 5%. Nearly 36% of the revenue is derived from ad valorem taxes, business licenses, and sanitation fees. The remaining 15% is derived from lodging taxes, rental taxes, and various miscellaneous revenues. Today, I'm presenting to you a balanced general fund operating and debt service budget that is $20.3 million more than the current year's budget, which includes pay increases, merit raises, and accompanying fringe benefits such as FICA, Medicare, retirement, and health insurance expenditures. The percentage increase for the total proposed budget is 6.5%, more than the current year's budget. The current year's total budget is 7.5% over the previous year. Consequently, the percentage increase in the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget is 1% less than that of the current year's percent over fiscal year 2023. Those city council members who attended the budget meetings heard cabinet members and department heads express their requests and justification for the increases in their departmental operating budgets to continue providing high standards of services that are paid for and rightly expected by the citizens of this city. Consequently, the increases in the proposed budget are due to the aforementioned reasons, which has resulted in the 6.5% increase over the current year's budget. Thank you for your observations and comments that help with the composition of the FY 2025 proposed budget. It is projected that the revenue collected in the city in the current year will provide an additional increase to fund balance, otherwise known as reserves, that will help the city grow its savings so they can be better prepared for unseen emergency situations. Plus, increasing the reserve will keep the city in a good posture to maintain its current bond rating or be upgraded by rating agencies such as Moody's, Standard & Poor's, or Fitch. I want to spend a few minutes acknowledging the hard work that allowed us to get to this point. Our cabinet members, city department directors, and their staff members spent a lot of time over the course of the last few months preparing zero-based budgets and evaluating their operations down to the smallest details to prepare their budget presentations. Many thanks to every employee for their hard and often difficult work that they do every day to provide first-class services to the citizens of Montgomery. Again, I offer my sincerest thanks to all city employees for their hard work and dedication to the pursuit of our purpose to restore and enhance lives, businesses, and our entire community. Also deserving of our thanks are those employees who spent many long days and nights and weekends preparing the final budget document. The Chief Financial Officer, Betty Beeville, and her entire staff in the Finance Department have worked relentlessly, projecting revenues, screening expenditures, answering questions, emails, and text messages related to the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget. This administration will continue to move forward to build a better Montgomery for all residents where everyone can live, learn, and earn. My plan is to continue to move forward until that plan becomes a reality. In conclusion, the proposed fiscal year 2025 general fund and debt service budget being presented to you today is $331,625,628, for your approval. I have confidence that this proposed budget will allow the city to move forward in building a better Montgomery for all of its citizens. Presented by Stephen L. Reed, Mayor, City of Montgomery.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hill?
Thank you, Mr. President. And according to the agenda here, I see there'll be additional action taken on the 3rd after a public hearing on that budget.
Mr. President, point of order, we need a copy of the budget itself. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, we have. Do you have one?
The clerk does not have a copy.
All right.
I have to have one, yes, sir. And I also need a written copy of his message. Thank you.
Set for the budget meeting.
We have a proclamation we'd like to present at this time, Mr. President, if it pleases the council.
Yep. Go ahead, Mr. Hill.
City of Montgomery, Office of the Mayor, a proclamation. This month we're celebrating National Black Business Month in the month of August in the City of Montgomery. This annual commemoration dates back to 2004 when Frederick Jordan, an engineer and entrepreneur, and John William Templeton, an author and historian, created the celebration. The intention was to highlight and empower black business owners everywhere, especially given the unique challenges faced by minority business owners. This stemmed from Mr. Jordan's personal experience of the struggle to gain financial backing and funding when he began his firm, underscoring the importance of this celebration. And whereas National Black Business Month is a time to acknowledge and appreciate black-owned businesses across the nation and all that they represent in the country's continual striving for diversity, equality, and whereas by commemorating National Black Business Month, the City of Montgomery reaffirms its commitment to fostering an inclusive environment that values diversity, encourages economic empowerment, and works toward eradicating inequalities. And whereas the African American Entrepreneurs Association, in conjunction with the Montgomery Entrepreneurial Ecosystem and the City of Montgomery Small Business Initiative, Access Montgomery will host events throughout August to spotlight companies and provide resources to small business owners. These events will encourage the community to celebrate and support black-owned businesses beyond this month. Now, therefore, I, Stephen L. Reed, Mayor of the City of Montgomery, Alabama, hereby proclaim August 2024 as National Black Business Month in the City of Montgomery and encourage all citizens to take part in celebrating the accomplishments of black-owned businesses and to actively support their growth and development. And as you know, Montgomery has been recognized multiple times in the last few years for being one of the best locations for a black-owned business to begin, to open, to operate, and to do business and prosper. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Leslie Giscombe and Jennifer Anderson. Jennifer is the Director of Access Montgomery. Mr. Giscombe is with the African American Entrepreneurial Association, and I'd like to present them a copy of this presentation.
Yeah, come. Let's get a photo out. Come on in the center. Come on, man. Pruitt said you should be in the picture. Yeah. Everybody in? Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hill. Any questions of the Chief of Staff? All right, Council, at this time, before we go into the next agenda item, I would like to check your calendar for September the 5th at 4 p.m. for the council work session on the budget.
Budget work session, what time?
4 p.m.
Gonna do it-
September the 5th.
You gonna do it here in the chamber, or you wanna do it in the council chambers?
The smaller the better. No,
Oh,
let's
council.
do it in here.
In here,
Let's do it in here.
council auditorium,
Cost them-
September.
Everybody got
the
it?
5th, 4
September the
p.m.
5th, 4 p.m. All right. All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Zemansky has a presentation.
I don't have that on my.
Yes, sir, I called you.
Okay. Mr. Szymanski, your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm excited today and like to invite up members of the Alabama FC South soccer team that are here with us, and I really appreciate the mayor joining me in recognizing. In a summer where a lot of people like to say that there's not a lot going on in the city of Montgomery, these guys were out there on Saturday evenings out at the wonderful Fulmer Soccer Complex that has gotten amazing upgrades thanks to the mayor's office and previous councils. Played world-class soccer in front of all sorts of fans, families, and really just brought a lot of joy and excitement to the city of Montgomery. And so I'm very thankful to Manny Sanchez, their head coach, the rest of the team that's out there. We also have Jeff Reynolds here, who's the COO of the YMCA, who really helped bring all this together. And so, Jeff, I know you want to say a couple of quick things. We're going to pass these out to the coaches. We'll take a quick picture and move on. But I really, again, want to say thank you to all of your hard work and dedication. And pointing out that some of these people come from, they're not all from Montgomery. There's people that came from all over the world that were playing on this team, and they are excited about taking this to the next level. So y'all please follow them and keep an eye on all the exciting things that are coming. But Jeff?
Well, we just wanted to thank the city for their support of our soccer complex. I want to thank Manny Sanchez for his dream putting this together, and thank you for Councilman Szymanski for kind of helping put all this together and supporting us. It was just a great summer, and in particular, when you went out to those soccer games, you saw United Montgomery. People from all over, all languages, the team, the diversity, and these guys just represented us so well. We're proud of them. We thank everyone for being part of this.
Man, if you'd like to just call out each individual that's here with us today and bring them, we'll have them come up right here in front of us for a quick picture.
Hey, Jeff,
Okay.
what position did you play in soccer out there? Were you on this team?
Spectator. I was assistant to the assistant to the.
Yeah, you're the assistant to the assistant. All right.
He played a major role, just like everybody else did. All right, so I'll start here with Igor Franca. Luis Fernandez. Colin Solid. Baron Wright. Peyton Jones. Jacob Stubberfield. Patricio Pato Hernandez. And our associate head coach, Gabi Queiroz.
All right, guys, y'all kind of come in so we can get a picture. Manny, you guys cut and real, right?
And we passed on a little lapel to everybody up there, so enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, congratulations. All right, this time we will have another presentation by Mr. Orlando Mitchell for Mr. Matt Wilson, NFL football player, and his family. If you would, please come forward. Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I have known the Wilson family for a very long time, and I just want to make sure that our city recognize our individuals that go off and do great things. Matt has constructed or developed a apartment complex, affordable houses in other cities. So I just want to make sure that we recognize him. So maybe one day he'll want to come back home and work and do things on that north side. So I got to make sure that we recognize everybody. So at this time, if you can please come so we can take this picture and recognize Mr. Mac Wilson Sr.
We have a proclamation that Mr. Mitchell will present on the behalf of the office of the mayor, City of Montgomery. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Thank you, Mr. Samansky, for those presentations.
Nice guys.
All right, any special committees to report at this time?
Mr. President, we've got a committee meeting coming up this Thursday on the holding parents accountable and the curfew. We're going to probably push that back another week. I'll get Brenda to send out a cancellation notice, and we'll probably reschedule it for the following Thursday, but we'll check everybody's schedule and I'll send out an email.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Madam Clerk, item number 1.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on the proposed ordinance adopting the technical codes 2024 of the City of Montgomery with additions and deletions.
Okay, this is a hearing. At this time, to speak on item number 1 and number 2, I have on the agenda Mr. Jimmy Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jimmy Rutland, speaking on behalf of the Greater Montgomery Home Builders Association. Appreciate your time. We have been working with the City of Montgomery Building Department, Mr. Kippy Tate and Thomas Kern for several months now. We've had numerous meetings, and we had requested, we got our first set of suggested amendments and changes to the code on August the 12th. At that time, we asked to have a follow-up meeting to go over those amendments and the amendments made by our local association, and we were granted that meeting for next Tuesday, the 27th at 2 p.m. And we were told at the time that there would be no vote on this ordinance, that it would go over into the first September meeting, and found out today that that was not true, that it was coming before a vote. So we are just respectfully requesting that we have 2 more weeks, that we can have this meeting next Tuesday with Mr. Kippy Tate, who I complimented in the work session. We have a great relationship and are working together, and feel 100% positive that we'll come to a resolution on it. We just want to give our members in our industry time to digest that. This is a large book, 1,000+ pages, and there's a lot to see and do, and so, you know, a couple of months to study it and give feedback is difficult. So,
All right,
thank you very much.
Mr. Tate.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Here's what I like to say about this. Mr. Rutland's right. We can work this out in 2 weeks and be back in 2 weeks. But there's only one book of about 8 of them. So I'd like for you to go ahead and pass the other 7 codes that we need to adopt. Leave this one for us to work out next week and adopt the rest of the building codes, the rest of the technical codes that's in the ordinance.
Okay.
That way we can work on the zoning, on the residential piece, but that doesn't hold us up from the rest of the building codes that are part of the family of codes that we're asking to move to the 2004 additions.
Mr. Tate, could you tell us what those codes are that you're talking about?
Yes, I can. International Building Code, the International Plumbing Code, the International Existing Building Code, the International Plumbing Code, I said that one, the Mechanical Code, Swimming Pool and Spa Code. Has nothing to do with the residential code at all.
So I would argue that to say that all of those codes do affect our industry, and we would like to wait until we have an opportunity to look at everything as a whole and not just parts.
But I respectfully think that you guys need to understand one thing, that the residential code is a code within itself. They're not part of the commercial building codes that I just named. So this can be isolated because they're not interconnected. The Home Builders Licensing Board allows a certain category of buildings to be built under the residential code, but those same building types are not applied to the building code itself. So you do have a separation of the other 7 codes that I just mentioned that's not included in the residential code. So there's no reason to hold us up from moving forward with the other codes that are not affected. We can work out the residential piece as we are committed to do, but we would respectfully ask you to allow us to move forward with the other family of codes that has nothing to do with the residential code. We won't even be discussing this kind of stuff. It was only towards the residential code, so we'd like for you to move forward with that vote. There's no point in holding us up on these other matters.
All right, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. So the members of our association are not just home builders, okay? They are multifamily builders, developers, they do commercial buildings, the trades that all do home building also do commercial and other aspects. So we're a very diverse association, and again, I would just respectfully say we do it as a whole.
Mr. President,
Mr. Pruitt.
I'm so confused. I'm gonna make a motion to carry it over for 2 weeks.
Okay.
We're not there yet. We're still having public hearing.
Yeah, the public hearing is not over.
All right.
Okay, so I heard from Mr. Tate and I hear from Mr. Rutland. So what I'm understanding is 8 books total.
Right.
You're asking for a vote on 7 other books.
That's right.
Of the code, and not the one that we was talking about in the work session to discuss any amendments that need to be done, any adjustment that needs to be done.
The amendments that we were talking about that were the subject of the conversation earlier only apply to the residential book that he just showed you. But there's other books besides that book, for lack of a better way to describe it, that's not related to the residential code. So the amendments that we were talking about will apply to the one book, not the other 7 books that we're talking about.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, I had made a motion, didn't I?
No, I hadn't closed the hearing yet.
I thought
so
you closed it.
Not yet. I wanted to hear them. I'm going to close in a minute. Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
Mr. President, Mr. Tate, could you expand on your accreditation that you need this for?
Yes, ma'am. It's accreditation is just what it is. It's an examination of our department, which I truly believe is a good department, one of the best in this area. It takes into consideration training that our guys have to go through, which leads to the inspections, plan review, and other services that we provide to make sure that the facilities that are occupied in this town are built and constructed according to the codes that we're wanting to move to the 2004 edition. Right now, we're on the 2018 code, which obviously is, 6 years old. We want to modernize that so that our structures are safe to the current day codes. And right now, we're trying to get away from the 18 codes because they're outdated, in our opinion. So the accreditation team will look at how efficient our office is, how competent our office is, and the latest building codes will help support that effort. And that's what the accreditation team will be examining.
Can I make a comment, please? To that,
I heard somebody.
Can I just mention something about that? So, first of all, again, bragging on Mr. Tate and his department, they are very efficient. They do a fantastic job. We don't need a rating to tell us that. We in the industry know that, okay? I want him to get his rating, and I want that for the building department and for our city. However, the reason that we're on the 2018 code currently is because there is such thing as a code cycle. So the new code comes out every 3 years. Most municipalities are always at least 1, if not 3 code cycles, okay? So 1 would be 3 years behind the current code. 3 code cycles would be 9 years behind the current code. This code just hit the floor. The National Association of Home Builders just on August 12th was able to spend enough time and money to come with the first wave of potential amendments and comments to the code. And so I just don't think asking 2 more weeks, which would be a total of about 90 days to review that much material, is enough. Most municipalities spend years reviewing it so that they get it right, so that their inspectors aren't making mistakes in the field because they have to learn the code as well, obviously.
Mr. President, I ask that we move for a vote.
All right, Mr. Pruitt had a motion first.
You
then we'll
haven't
come-
closed the hearing, Mr. President.
Okay, man, my bad. All right, this is a public hearing that has been held. Any more comments from Mr. Tate or Mr. Rutland? All right.
I want, real quick, and I know we're trying to move on, and I do respect Mr. Rutland's position, and I do understand their concern. I see nothing in what we're proposing that would be detrimental to their business. We've had a great relationship, so if there's anything that does surface later, or there are concerns that come up later that we need to come together to fix, we have always done that. But I just don't want us to be in a position, one, to slow down the other family of codes because of the residential code, and two, I'll leave you with a question.
All right.
Would you rather have your house built to the latest code or to a code that's 6 years old? That's just a question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tate. Thank you, Mr. Rutland. Mr. Pruitt?
Just make a motion to carry it over for 2 weeks.
All right. All in favor of the carryover, please raise your hand.
4.
All right. Opposers have the same right.
Wait a minute,
right.
keep your hands up, just put them back up again. Okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
All right.
Okay, there are only 8 of you, so it dies for lack of majority.
Okay. Oh, the carryover.
Yes, sir, to carry it over fails because of lack of
All right.
majority.
So,
There are
Mr.
only
Johnson,
8
you
of
had a
you.
motion. We're going to be in the same boat.
It's going, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be in the same boat.
it's going to be the
But
same
can we,
thing.
can we just,
Can
Mr.
I-
President, if you have a moment, I think one of the things that was pointed out, though, is that not all, what did you say, 90 days this came out? And so I'd like just to make the point that if there's a meeting on the books for Tuesday, and I understand there's 7 other books, I assume they're just as large as the book that you brought in today.
Oh, no, don't make that assumption. Please don't.
The only
And so, here's the issue that
Well,
I
I know.
want to say before this body.
I'm
It's
just
easy,
asking.
can I say
Yes,
this?
please.
It's easy for folks that don't do this every day to assume.
Exactly.
We do this every day. You hired me to do this.
That's
I
right.
would not come before you nor represent that we would hurt the home builders if that was the case.
Exactly. That's why
So
I
if you
asked.
want the honest answer is if you want to do what you want to, but don't let the residential portion of the family of books that we're talking about hold up the others. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, and all I was pointing out is that if a meeting's already on the books to have a discussion with interested parties, it might be relevant information to see how that meeting goes before we go, because then what's the point of them having a meeting to discuss areas of gap? I know you're going to say that there's things that we can do
No.
after this is
I'm not
adopted.
going to say that. What I'm
but-
saying is we're happy to have a meeting in 2 weeks, 90 days from now. On the residential portion, there's 7 other books that we don't need to meet on.
Sure, and all
So
I'm,
isolate that, and then we can talk about the one that's at question.
and I'm just pointing out that some of the people that may be in that room may have comments on those. I don't know if that's been discussed or not. I'm just pointing out that if the meeting's on the books, we carried it 2 weeks. It doesn't seem detrimental. So I'm just.
It's detrimental. It's detrimental.
He's
Mr. President.
telling you-
I have a motion.
It is
And the
Mr.
thing was,
President.
the thing that I was
Yes,
thinking
yes.
about the vote when I heard Mr. Tate saying, and I heard Mr. Rutland saying we had one book that we initially started talking about, which was the residential portion. So he's asking that we move on to 7 books.
Yes.
Other than the residential portion.
That's
The meeting
what
was
it
set
is.
up about the residential portion, what I understand.
Correct.
But he also said that some of the disciplines cross over. They represent people that build more than just homes. And so if there's other areas of comment that they may have, they'll bring it to the table at that meeting. And again, I'm just I'm asking for us to consider that with the meeting on the books next week and a city council meeting coming up in 2 weeks.
I understand what you're saying, but I think it had a motion from Ms. Johnson.
You did.
And I think we're gonna be in the same situation that was in.
But if her motion to, I'm
What was
just-
the
Mr.
motion?
President,
What
if-
was the
Mr.
motion? I
President,
don't have
Yes,
the
sir.
motion.
in the spirit of trying to cooperate and help the building department, I would be willing to concede if we could pass the other books today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to make this a workable situation
Yes.
for all parties in.
Yes, sir.
And we
So
don't want
they
to
can
hold,
get
I
their
understand your
accreditation.
point where you represent, I understand what he does from the city. And I just want to come to a thing where we can get along to make things better in Montgomery. And I respect what you're doing, Jimmy, and I respect
Yeah.
what Kip is talking about. I don't want to hold Montgomery hostage on anything. And I
Yes,
think
that's right.
if we have to come up with something that comes up again, if we need to amend the ordinance or whatever we need to do, we can come back at that time. And I trust you guys that you guys can work it out in a gentleman's way to come back before.
Absolutely,
Thank you, sir.
absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I make the motion?
Hold on. We need to make an amendment that
Right.
we
We need
pass
to
the
make
seven.
a motion to
Go ahead.
adopt, and then a motion to
To
amend
amend
to
and pass the
remove
seven with the exception of the residential.
the International Residential Code, is that correct?
Book 1.
I'm sorry, Brenda, I didn't hear y'all.
We're
We
making a
need to make
motion.
a movement, the amendment to remove the International Residential Code, am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Make that motion.
I make the motion to what you just said. No.
To adopt.
Adopt and amend. Make the motion to adopt.
I make
and
a
amend.
motion to adopt and amend to remove the International Residential Code from the ordinance.
So the
Okay.
motion
And
is
to
all
move
in favor
forward.
of the adoption of the
Of the amendment,
amendment,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
unanimous,
All right. Voting on the main motion, Mr.
to
Johnson,
adopt as
to
amended.
adopt it.
So, I move to adopt as amended.
It's
All right,
already
we have a
made.
motion on the floor to adopt as amended. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
To
you
allow
so
the-
Thank you
job,
so much
guys.
for working that out.
The ordinance is adopted as amended, excluding the residential code.
That's a great gentleman's agreement. I like
That
that.
is.
Item 3, review of Soul Food Sports Cafe, 1266 East Elm Mall.
All right, Mr. Grimes,
Said they were coming in Friday, so.
are they here today?
Bob, is anybody here today? I don't think so.
They get paid.
No, the owner's not here. We made a motion of work session, carried over for 2 more weeks.
All right, you carrying over?
Carried over.
All right, thank you. Carried over for 2 weeks, Mr. Blaylock.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Item 4, resolution repealing the legislation which created Montgomery City County Personnel Board and expressing council's intent to adopt an ordinance creating a city personnel board in accordance with Act 2024-337.
Madam Clerk, I'd like to carry that item over for 30 days.
So that will be the second meeting in September?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 5, ordinance granting a license to construct, install, and maintain license plate readers located on the city right-of-way at North Decatur Street, at North Ripley Street westbound, and North Decatur Street at House Street northbound.
All right. Ms. Sharon Harris. Sharon Harris, you signed up to talk on item number 5. All right. Ms. Beard.
Do what now?
Sharon Harris. You Sharon Harris?
Sharon Harris for the record. I thought she said that she was going to carry it over.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. You want to go ahead and speak on it already? You want to speak on this item?
I'm waiting.
Okay, you gonna wait? All right.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Mr. President, I move to carry this over indefinitely as we are in conversations with how we'll move forward with these type of cameras.
All right. Thank you. They
To
carry
the
it over.
next meeting. To the next meeting.
No, indefinitely.
Definitely.
And
Mhm.
so you're tabling it?
Tabling.
indefinitely?
Tabling it.
Okay. Item 6, resolution setting hours of operation for 2600 North Belt Drive, the Montgomery International Dragway.
All right. Owners of Montgomery International Speedway, please come forward. Ms. Beard.
Mr. Wheeler, are you here? All right, we're going to go ahead and present this tonight. With the Montgomery International Speedway located on North Belt Loop out there, we are taking the operational hours and we are moving, we're just flipping the Friday and Sunday night hours. Friday night and Saturday night will be 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Sunday through Wednesday is a 9:30 to 10, and then on Thursday evening, 9:30 to 10:30. I've talked to Mr. Wheeler, we've talked to business and department, and so we've all agreed on this, and Mr. Wheeler presented this, and we've all agreed to take care of this.
Ms. Beard, is Mr. What'd you say, Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Wheeler, Brad Wheeler.
Is he here?
I don't see him.
Yes, he don't care. All right, so you saying you have agreed and talked with them on that?
Absolutely,
I just,
we have.
I have, I would like to see the owners to talk with them about the changing of their operation hours and what they're concerned.
But, Mr. President, let me explain something to you. When Mr. Brad Wheeler took occupancy and ownership of this drag strip, what he has stated to me that the business hours and what I've also been told, they did not transfer to him. So he's been operating almost a year, a little over a year, right, Teresa? Without operational hours that were confirmed. And so when I had some complaints, I went out and spoke with him. This is what we've come up with.
Okay.
So,
You represent them, so I'm cool with it. All right? You wanna
so make a motion to adopt, please.
I have a motion on the floor to adopt. All in favor, please raise your hand.
7. Mr. Chairman.
I'm voting no.
Ms. Riley, are you voting no? Okay, now wait a minute, you've got hands going up and down.
Oh, my hand was up.
I had 7 that voted yes. The chairman is the only one I didn't have his vote.
I'm gonna abstain on it because I would like to talk with the owner, so I'm not gonna vote on it.
And I do have the rest of you voting yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 7, application
luck on
for
your
towing
business.
company doing business as D&D Towing and Recovery, 562 Oliver Road.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Ms. Beard?
Yes, Mr. Rose is not able to be here this evening. This is his friend, and she's going to speak on his behalf. And then I have Ms. Brown from Business Office, too. We're going to go over a couple of things that we've got to work out before this can be handled.
Okay, D&D Towing is just a,
Your name for the record, ma'am?
I'm sorry, Sophia Ellis.
Sophia Ellis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, Ms. Sophia.
This is a tow service for D&D Towing and Recovery, and 562 Oliver Road is the place that he wants to store his tow truck. Oh, it's a place that like to store his tow truck. It's just a place to store it. It's not other cars can be towed there. He's just gonna store his truck there.
Okay.
Like a storefront.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sophia. I appreciate you being here. You and I spoke, I think it was on Sunday morning, and we talked about the tow truck only being in the front, and I told you there were some concerns because we felt like that they were being pulled to the back, and you assured me that they weren't, but I've gotten some pictures here that we've got some vehicles that are in the back underneath the Facebook page. But anyway, also we've spoken to Ms.
The
Brown.
owner of the property?
I'm gonna let her take over for you. Ms. Brown, would you speak, please?
I spoke to the owner of the property, and due to the fact that he is not a tenant at that residence, that we have to have a permission slip from the property owner for him to park it. And he told me, no, he will not allow it.
You're running 2 businesses out of 1 storefront, and you've rented it, but he's not signed on to let Mr. Rose be a business owner there as well.
Okay, so if I spoke with him and got that, then it'll be
He'll
okay?
have to bring it, he'll have to get a permit, he'll have to give him permission to park there. And
Right,
need
we'll
a
have to come back
letter.
in front of
Yeah,
the
that's fine, 'cause
council.
we're very close.
Right, right. He'll have to come back in front of the council at that time and assure us that we're not parking any vehicles in the back.
Well, the business on the back is like 3 different businesses back there. So I don't
Right,
have
right.
no-
I went back there too. I went back there a
Yeah.
week before, but I couldn't find the when you were supposed to be here like a week or so ago. The last council meeting, I had already gone out there, and then they helped me find the location. So I always go out and do a site visit, and so, you know, once we get those things in place, then we'll come back down and we talk about it again, and we'll try to move on with your business.
Okay.
Okay. Is that
fine.
satisfactory? Thank you.
Carrying this over
Carrying
to
it over, yes, ma'am.
to
Thank
the
you.
next meeting.
Yes, 2 weeks, please.
Okay.
Ms. Sophia, can y'all be back in 2 weeks? Okay, thank you so much.
Item 8, review of budget in motel, 4409 Troy Highway.
All right, owners of budget. Mr. Mitchell?
I spoke to them on, I think, last week. They were supposed to be here, one of the motels. I don't see this. He up.
Hi, how are you? How you doing?
Yes, sir, your name for the record?
Sunny Patel.
You get that, Ms. Blaylock?
Yes,
Sandy Patel?
Sonny.
Sonny, okay.
Sonny.
Spell your first name for me.
S-U-N-N-Y.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. S-U-N-N-Y.
Okay,
Patel.
thank you. You're the owner or the son of the owner?
Son.
Son and owner. All right, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Patel.
Mr. Patel, I've been getting those same phone calls before about individuals being outside in front. So what measures are you guys taking to make sure that your customers are not sitting, because I pass by there sometimes at night, I see, especially on the weekend, see a lot of folks sitting in front of where you check in at. I see a lot of doors open when I pass by there sometimes at night just to see. So what are you guys doing to ensure that your customers are being where they're supposed to be, not behind the building, on the side of the building? I had a that own a one or two business saying that your individuals are coming and patronizing or standing in front of their building, then they'll run them off and they'll come right over to the hotel. So I just want to see what are you guys doing to ensure that they don't lauder. Are y'all trespassing them? Tell me, what are you doing?
Well, my dad and my grandfather tried many times to tell people to not do all that, but they don't listen. So.
Speaking to the mic, I can't hear anything.
My father and my grandfather, especially my father, tried to tell them that they're not supposed to be doing any of that, but they just do not listen. We have all kinds of issues, these problems that you mentioned on the property. But we call the police. That's mostly what we do, is just call the police. But they can't just force somebody off the property. The only thing they do is tell them to get their stuff out of the room. That's about it.
So if it's that bad, have y'all looked at doing private security? Have y'all looked at doing anything? If you're saying that it's that bad that you need to call the police, have y'all looked at doing security companies?
No, we have not.
Will you please look at doing security company, especially on the weekend? I'm not talking about every day, but if you can just help me out, because like I said, I am getting those phone calls, and I'm trying to do everything possible to work with the business that's in District 6. So if you guys can consider and look at doing security, a security company, that I think that'll kind of help that flow of that traffic that y'all don't want to come to your property. I'm listening.
You got somebody with you that want to talk on your behalf, sir?
Excuse me?
You representing with him? Okay, you talking out loud so I can understand. We're trying to recognize. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sir. He asked you a question. You want to address what he's asking you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't speak in exactly, because I don't know the entirety of my dad's financial situation, but he does have to pay a lot in business taxes, increased property taxes, higher insurance costs because of the issues with crime. Hiring security will add on to that cost as well. There's operational costs running the business. You have a lot of customers who are not working, so they're in their rooms, they're using air conditioner and all those kinds of things, driving up the cost of utility bills. A lot of customers who don't want to pay rent. They can't pay the rent on time.
So Mr. Patel, I'm trying my best.
The issue is crime in the city.
Yeah, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to work with you, Mr. Patel. I'm doing, because I'm getting so many complaints about. So you saying that it's crime, but I'm hearing that crime is coming from your establishment. So I am trying my best to work with the establishment that I'm getting the complaints about. So my thing is, I'm trying my best to work with you. So the thing that we can do, I'm gonna come see you guys. I'm gonna come sit down with your dad, because it's an issue that we have to address, and I cannot no longer take excuses. So that's why I'm trying to work with you. That's why I brought you guys here for a review, not for a show cause, because I want to make sure that y'all are successful, but I want to make sure that everybody around you guys are safe as well. So what we'll do, I think your sister or somebody called me. I'll call them back. I'm going to set up a meeting so I can come to the actual business and sit down with your family so we can address some of these issues so we won't have to come back here. Okay, Mr. Patel?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Item 9.
Review of Infusion Lounge, 3905 Troy Highway.
All right, the owners of Infusion Lounge, please come forward. Public communication on item 9, we have Ms. Angela Expert. If you could just hold tight till your name for the record, sir.
Good evening, Council. Terrence Johnson, manager with Infusion Lounge.
All right, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Johnson, we've been here before, and like I just told Mr. Patel, I try my best to work with every business in the District 6, and to get the number of calls, the number of videos, and something drastically have to change. And I am not the person that I'm for small business. I'm for entertainment, and my council might be, I'm for entertainment, especially night entertainment. So we have to do something different. The first thing I want to do that make sure that your security are identifiable. It shouldn't be anybody that, and that's part of the confusion. It shouldn't be anybody that's plain clothes saying that they are security guard. Please have your security guards to have identifiable stuff, so it won't be a confusion that somebody's coming up that they don't know who they are and trying to tell or control them. Some of the videos I saw was, I know the nature of how Montgomery is starting to evolve. So I can't blame everything that's on the outside, but anything that happened on the inside, I do hold you responsible. I hold your security responsible. So I want to make sure that, first of all, two things on the record, that you please have whether it's security or a staff member that's able to check females that's coming in that don't want to be searched by male security guards. Please have that. It don't have to, whoever you design to do that, please have them on staff. Please have all your security guards identified. Please, we don't need, I don't want to see any videos where somebody in plain clothes is trying to tell somebody or trying to search somebody. Some of those things that we could eliminate, Mr. Johnson, and I'm getting so many calls. And like I said, and when I get those calls, I'm like Miss Julie Beard, I'm coming on the scene. So, when I get those calls, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to come talk to you. I'm not going to wait until we get here. We just had a meeting the other day that I thought it was real successful with the neighborhood associate with South Alliance, with Ms. Rotice about what's going on in the club. And I don't want to keep on bringing you here, but we have to change. I want to make sure that I think you hadn't got with the Star Watch. Like I said, I'm not trying to get on the inside of your establishment, but I do want us to have access to the outside of your establishment. So if anything happened, I think it was a question about something that happened inside your club, and we didn't know if it happened inside or outside, but with those cameras and we connected with Star Watch will help us kind of bring some of that stuff down. So I'm only asking for small stuff, Mr. Johnson. So do you think those couple of things that you can put those in place for me, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Expert. You got a question, Ms. Expert.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, Council. Ms. Expert with South Alliance. I want to all of you just step back for a moment and think about this. We have a lot of issues going on Friday nights and Saturday nights. High areas are when we have lounges and night spots. I do think if we had additional patrols, now we want business in the city to get that tax revenue, but we need to have a continuous flow through those areas so the MPD, first and foremost, will see if they're gathering out in the parking lot. If so, that is the time to notify, because with everyone in our district, I have his cell phone number, and I call him on the phone. I say, hey, we got a problem. Also, I talked with him today about Star Watch. Also, he's installing some additional security to keep individuals from his patio coming in, so that when they do come in, they're going to go through a metal detector, because it was open at first. I know, Mr. Mitchell, you've seen it in the past, but they're doing some work on it now. I'm also going to continue to work with this owner, because we got to get it right, because we don't want to lose lives in this city. But we have got to have a little oversight with MPD when they're driving by and they see something, say something. Just like the citizens see something, they need to say something. I appreciate MPD for all they do. I know they don't have time to do all of this, but at the end of the day, it will save a life.
All right, thank you, Ms. Exton. Mr. Mitchell, thank you, Mr. Johnson. You done?
Ms. Mitchell, can I say something?
No.
Mr. President, may I say one thing? I need to ask a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, I understand we've got to learn, y'all, we got to take care of lives. We're sitting here and we're playing with people's lives at these clubs. I mean, everybody up here has gotten videos on what's going on in these clubs. And sometimes we got to take a stand for our community, for our people. And it's time for us to stand up and be honest, say it's a problem, and acknowledge the problem. And we got to come to a solution on these problems that we're having. Everybody's, I mean, like I tell people come to y'all clubs and take pictures all day long. I'm just being honest. And they post them. And they're going to show it. And then the next day, we sit up here and we look at it constantly over and over because they burn our phones up, other people's phones, everywhere. It's all over Facebook, what's going on in these clubs. And we're going to have to work to do better. I mean, I know you're in Mr. Mitchell's district, but we got to ask the question. I want to ask the question. Security. What are your security doing? I know Mr. Mitchell has told you to identify your security, but we just sit here today and watched a video of a girl, was it outside? Outside getting beat in the parking lot right there, and security was standing there. We just watched this video. Yes, ma'am,
but the person was standing there if you watched the video, you should have seen that person had a gun, and so was everybody inside the car where he was. They all had machine guns and said if anybody walk up, they're going to shoot them. And just like Mrs. Exford said, and several people are telling you all, the police who drive by, they're not doing nothing. People walking around with guns everywhere. We do have an open carry in the state of Alabama, and they're walking around with the guns, and the police are coming to the place and people have a gun.
Okay.
And if you also know all over Facebook, you see people walking all down the boulevard with machine guns.
Yes,
we
yes,
do
sir.
have security. We're being very diligent. We're using all sources and all kind of methods to prevent people from doing the violence. We are not creating the violence.
Yes,
the
sir.
citizens that want to be out of control are doing it, and we're doing everything we can do by maintaining security. We have people trying to bring guns in, people trying to break in all through the day and night. So we're installing some mesh wire on the patio so they can't pass guns in. We have people that want to climb in through the holes in the patio and get in free. We have people that get in the lounge, and then people on the outside want to come to the patio hole and pass guns through there. So we are doing everything. We had 7 security guards there on that day, and we're trying to control everyone to the best that we are. It's nothing that Infusion done. It's just customers from whatever reason get involved in different incidents. It may be inside or outside, but that incident was one outside and people were armed. It was a security guard there, but everybody pulled a gun and said if anybody do anything, they was going to shoot everybody on the scene.
Okay, I understand. That's not the video we saw. We saw another.
I don't know
So,
which
I mean,
one you've
that's
seen.
what I'm saying.
I can't address it though, Mrs.
Yeah, it
Riley,
was
if you're not
multiple-
showing me, so that's the only problem.
I mean, we'll show it to you, but it was multiple
Sure.
videos, and that's not the one that we were talking about that we saw earlier. And I mean, I'm just asking the question: is a restaurant lounge, or a club?
It's a lounge.
Okay, so how we charge to get in the lounge?
We do.
How much is the fee? If you don't
It
mind me
varies.
asking?
We don't have to have a price.
So we're a lounge, and we
Yes,
charge.
ma'am.
Okay.
We have a lounge license.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Mr. Grimes?
Sir, do you own the building?
I'm the manager, yes, sir.
No, who owns the property?
The real estate group owns it.
Okay, can we not get something that they won't allow guns on their property, like you can't carry it on certain properties?
Well, I have that myself. We have that signed up. We have it up on the door and everything so it can happen. We post some signs today. Actually today we just nailed some to the trees out there. Some up there now saying about theft and vandalism and things of that nature.
So we don't want them bringing it in the parking lot. And Chief, if they had a sign that said you cannot carry firearms into this property, and they did, can we go arrest them?
It's not it ain't no police.
Come on down, Chief.
And that's the
can I
big challenge that we have.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
what are your hours of operation?
5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Saturdays. 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Fridays, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Sundays.
3 a.m. I'm concerned with that. I just am. That's just a late night. Maybe Mr. Mitchell looking at some different hours.
That's
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
help.
I don't
Mr.
know.
President, if I can.
Hold up. Ms.
I
Beard,
think-
you done?
Sure.
You
Yeah.
finished?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank
All
you.
right, Ms. Johnson.
Yeah, I think the disconnect with the council, with the general public, I think myself, Andrew, the only under 40 up here, it's a disconnect, right? People need something to do. And closing them, I appreciate Councilor Mitchell working with him, because a lot of the stuff is coming into his space. I ride the boulevard at night just to look and to see for myself. And I want to just say, Ms. Angela, it's police out. It's one police car, too. They are patrolling. He even has police in the parking lot. But the thing is, just everybody, all y'all saw it. They call it Club Ghetto. It's 300, 400, 500 people not in his spot, outside. They're in their cars because they have nothing to do. Right. They have nowhere to go. The more and more you close it, you want to address the hours that work for you, Ms. Councilor Beard, ain't gonna work for nobody under 40. And I get what you're saying, but we are increasingly growing, and the way that we continue to grow and to keep people under 40, because we want to grow the population and have different populations here and different demographics of people, you have to have something for them to do. Now, on our end, we need to look at what enforcement looks like. And I know Chief has talked about it, we talk about it. He's growing, he's trying to recruit, but until we get there, he's hired people out of his own pocket. Councilor Mitchell already spoke to him on how to address that, right?
That's
with the
correct.
security, make sure that they are dressed in security gear, and you need to have women, not if the woman don't want, no woman should be pat down by a man. So you need a woman on there. That's a military, and that's just period. Because then you'll get hit with something else you don't want.
Right.
So you need a woman there. That's period. You need security there, because if I'm looking at a video and somebody macing out in the crowd and they got on regular clothes, you can't tell me they're security because you can't prove it to me. You understand what I'm saying, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Johnson? So I agree with Councilor Mitchell. Do what you're doing, but you need to do stuff in order and right and do what you can. And Chief, I appreciate you standing here. I don't know what we can do about you got 3 police cars and 500 people. You know, I don't know. It's something that we probably need to sit at the table and just discuss and look at. But I know that you are doing all that you can do. But being realistic, people, 500 people in a parking lot filled with cars, you would probably be scared to ride past it.
It was not a parking lot, it was a street.
All right, Mr. Who called the chief? Who asked the chief to come up? Somebody had a question. Mr. Grimes, you have a question for the chief?
Chief, if we're in a parking lot and he sees them having guns and they have signs, the owner of the property says no firearms allowed. Okay, he's made it clear it's like a federal building like this building here. You can't bring a gun in. And they see him, they said, we got a complaint, there's people out there with guns, can we go arrest them?
Yeah, the way it works is like this. The owner of the property, of course, if they post the warning that the no weapons are allowed, and police get called. Now, the owner of the property has to be willing, though, to press charges for the trespassing if they refuse to leave when they are asked to. Now, the police can come out to deal with it, and anything we see illegal in front of us, we can deal with. But at the same time, we need the owner of that property to be willing to press charges in relation to our calls out there.
Sounds good. What if I'm just, for instance, can the managing realtor press charges? If I'm managing that property.
Yeah, an authorized representative of that property.
Okay.
An agent of that property can press
Sounds
charges on
good.
behalf of that property.
So get big signs, get the owners to put up signs.
Yes, sir.
And we do it, then call them, let's get them arrested.
Okay, we'll have those up this week.
But I have to emphasize that agent, that authorized party has to be willing to do it.
I'm that authorized
They gotta
party.
be willing to do it.
So he's got to come out at night. If it's 2 in the morning.
He's got to be. He's got to press
we
charges
can.
with us because if we take somebody into custody, we need to have a valid warrant on that.
We're going to get the realtor out there.
Well, I'm the authorized party.
Okay. All right.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you so much.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Item 10, ordinance amending the organizational chart to add housing department.
Need a motion on item number 10. Mr. Reed's here. We talked about it in the work session. What's the will of the council? Need a motion? Motion to suspend the rules? Somebody make a motion?
This is the housing
Number 10.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Ms. Johnson, yeah, just don't suspend the rules, we're gonna carry it over. She made a motion to suspend the rules. All right.
4, so
All
we
right.
don't have suspension of rules, it's automatically carried
All
over.
right, item 10 is carried.
Item 11, ordinance imposing a moratorium on the issuance of building permits and approval of the site development plans for solar electric power generation facilities.
All right, CC.
Hold, please.
Ms. Blake, item number 11.
I just read it, Mr. President.
Hey, I'll ask for a tabling motion.
You want to put it in committee?
You
Yeah,
said
we can do
table
that.
it?
Mr. President, I think we just should go ahead and put this in committee. We'll put this in the Public Works Committee. Get all
Number
the,
11,
yeah.
Yeah,
isn't
we
that
put it in the
solar?
Public Works Committee.
Yeah, put it in Public Works.
Public Works
Now,
Committee.
okay, on item number 11, we're gonna put it in the committee, but I have Mr. Matt Henshaw and Karen, I think that's Bonji.
She spoke earlier.
She spoke in work session.
Bollinger.
She just spoke earlier.
All right, but- Come on up, man.
Ms. Blaylock, do you know who's on that Public Works?
No, off the top of my head, no,
Okay.
sir.
Just curious.
Mr.
Why don't you
Pruitt.
know that?
Sorry, it's Karen
You
Bollinger.
voted for it,
I
why
just-
don't you?
It was a little bit hard to hear back there. If you wouldn't
Yes,
mind
you
clarifying.
sign up to speak on item number 11, and I know you spoke in the work session, but it won't be reflected in the minutes. If you want to go ahead and speak, I'll allow you to have 3 minutes to speak on what you want to speak on number 11, but that item is going to be carried over and put into one of our standing committees to be worked on as we go forward.
Okay.
All right? Thank you. Sir?
How are you? My name is Matt Henshaw. I'm a partner at Bradley Arant. We're a law firm here in Montgomery. We represent Pinegate. They have a solar project here in the city that has been approved for zoning by the city 17 months ago. And so we're just here expressing our concern about this proposal moving forward at the last minute for our project. We totally support and understand the need for a thoughtful land use policy that protects the residents of the city. But at this point, where our project is, we would respectfully request that either the action that the council appears ready to take to study it further be pursued. We would support that, or the ordinance be amended to allow projects that have already received a special exception permit to be allowed to proceed.
Okay, I think your project is already gone before the zoning, so that don't affect it, so we carry it over. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Item 12, ordinance authorizing mayor to execute aggregate contracts of $25,000 or less without council review and approval through September 2025.
Ms. Blaylock, just per the input from Ms. Bellinger, we do need to amend the execute aggregate contracts of...
Okay, we got to get suspension of rules first.
Oh, we don't do that now?
Yes, sir.
My bad. We're going to carry it over anyway, it sounds like.
All right. This item be carried over.
Can we
All right, need a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
3.
All right, item be carried over for 2 weeks.
Okay, you will bring, what committee are you going to put it into? Are you going to put it into a committee?
No.
You're going to,
It's just gonna carry it over.
oh, okay.
12?
Are we going to correct the verbiage?
12 or 11?
No, sir, we'll have to do that at the next one because you didn't get suspensions of rules.
Okay, cool.
All right, item 13.
Resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
All right, need a motion to suspend the rules for the remainder of the agenda.
Motion to, yep, there it is.
Now y'all want to move. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 14, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
All right. Anyone in here that want to speak on item number 14?
That guy's got his hand up.
All right, need a motion.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. I do not have any contingency funds, Mr. President.
All right.
Ms. Blaylock, I got one.
Where's mine?
Okay,
$1,000 to ACTS CDC.
Act CDC,
Yes, ma'am.
1,000, okay.
Yes,
Anybody
ma'am.
else? Okay. Need a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, Ms. Blaylock, on the public communications,
Hey, Mr. Calhoun,
yes.
I've got one more.
All right, hold on one second.
Just a resolution.
Ms. Tanisha Bell, you're in the audience?
Okay, well, if he's got one to act on, we need to do it before public communications.
No, I'm not on public communication. I had someone to sign up on an agenda item that didn't put a number.
Because I know they cut the
You didn't
video
put
off.
a number. What did you want to speak to us on, Ms. Bell?
Non-agenda.
Ms. Bell?
It's non-agenda. She's non-agenda.
No, it says agenda item. So she might have signed up on both of them then. So she signed up on that. Okay, all right. Here we go. All right, thank you, Ms. Blaylock.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pruitt?
I've got an ordinance before you guys. Ms. Blaylock, could you read this, and I want to carry it over and have a public safety meeting on it with our attorney and Montgomery Police Department?
Ordinance requiring valid photo ID card if carrying a concealed firearms in the city of Montgomery.
Okay.
Mr. President.
You heard the ordinance. Mr. Pruitt had asked that this item be carried over and placed in the Public Safety Committee. Ms. Blaylock will put it in the Public Safety Committee. I think Mr. Pruitt is a member of that committee, so.
I am. Do I have to call that meeting tonight, or can I do it? Can we do
It
it
won't
next
be
week?
carried over because when you put it into committee, then it has to be voted out of committee back to full council. So you'll have to give me 7 days' notice to call the public safety.
Okay.
Okay, now, this is going to be a different subject from the other one.
That's
now.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mr. Pruitt, I think you want to have this on the agenda, right? And then we place it in the committee. So you want to introduce it, so it shows on the agenda and put it in.
Yeah, it's old business and just carry it over from the next council
All
meeting.
right, so we just gonna put it on
We'll
the
do
agenda.
that.
He's introducing it, and I'm gonna ask for a motion to suspend the rules, and they're not gonna be suspended, so it'll be carried over for 2 weeks.
He's asked for it to be carried over, to be put into the public safety committee. Now,
All right, I didn't hear.
Yes.
y'all are playing with the rules.
We're gonna put it in the public safety, but I think he wants this to show on the agenda to show some interest
I
from
do,
the
but I want to.
No, sir, when you put it into committee,
It's not in committee
it has to
yet.
be voted out of committee to full council. It doesn't automatically carry over to the next meeting. Now, you cannot put it into public safety committee and carry it
Until
over
after
to
the next
next meeting and then put it into public safety.
Okay. All right.
Which one are we doing?
Second.
Which is, you're going to carry it
Yeah,
over this
bring
meeting?
it up on old business, and I'll carry it over.
Carry it over?
Yes.
Yeah.
And forget public safety right now?
Yes, we'll do it.
Thank you, council.
We'll do that next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blaylock.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt.
Yes.
All right, in our public communication, non-agenda item.